Chapter 13. Oh! Kids seeing their breath moaned too, their faces twisted in disgust. It stinks! Someone cried. Oh, it smells so bad! A girl wailed. Brad staggered back from the case. He covered his nose and mouth with one hand. His eyes bulged in shock. He stared at the violin case as he backed away from it. Wow! I let out a cry as a disgusting odor floated to the back of the room. It was sharp and sour. I held my breath, struggling to keep it out. Several kids leaped up from their seats and moved to the window. The chubby boy from my row stood the window up and so I could sat outside. I can't breathe! It's so awful! Get it out! Get it out! Oh, I'm going to be sick! Cries and moans filled the room. Brad backed to the chalkboard, both hands pressed over his face. I kept holding my breath, hoping the foul odor would go away. Shaking her head, Mrs. Marks stumped over to the violin case. She bent with a groan and lifted the violin from the case. Then she raised the instrument to her face. She stuck her long nose in the hole and took 2 or 3 long sniffs. It smells like skunk, she announced. She put the violin back in the case. I'll be right back. She strode out the door, her bare feet smacking the floor, her big yellow dress bobbing like a hot air balloon. All around the room, kids were choking and gagging. About a dozen kids had their heads out the window, trying to breathe in fresh air. Brad huddled at the wall, staring miserably at his violin, shaking his head. Mrs. Mark returned a few seconds later. She carried a small brown bottle in one hand. She stopped just inside the door and held the bottle. It's skunk scent, she announced. I'm a science lab upstairs. Pure skunk scent. I found it in the music room. But who? Brad started, but he gagged from the odor. He held his nose and tried again. Who would pour skunk scent into my violin? He choked out. Mrs. Mark shrugged her broad shoulders. Beats me, she said. Then she raised the brown bottle of skunk scent to her lips, tipped back her head, and took a long drink. Kids groaned and cried out in disgust. More kids rushed for the window. Yep, skunk scent, Mrs. Mark said, licking her lips. Brad backed up till he was standing next to me at the back of the room. He kept swallowing hard, trying to keep from puking. My violin, he murmured. I can't play now. Mrs. Mark's expression grew stern, angry. To my horror, she pointed an accusing finger at me. You were responsible for this, she growled.